For tonight's recipe, I'm going to be making lobster mac and cheese, which is one of my favorites. Now, I had this for the first time at a restaurant at the Parker, which is at the Parker Hotel in Palm Springs, and it was so good. I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I had to perfect it and share it with you guys today. To get started, I'm going to cook our pasta, and then I'm going to get the pot for our lobster tails ready. Now, one of the keys to this dish is to make sure the pot is boiling and there's lots of salt in it. Since the garden's pumping, I decided to get a little bit of the fresh parsley that I needed for this recipe from the garden, which I'm just loving and having such a blast with. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to wash it, and then we're going to prepare that just by chopping it up nice and finely. Once your pot is boiling and it's got lots of salt in it, go ahead and drop in your lobster tails. I'm just using 2 because just my husband and I will probably eat this, and let that cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm gonna strain our pasta. I'm gonna get our mac and cheese started. To do that, we're gonna be putting 1 stick of butter in and about 1/4 cup of flour and whisk that together until it's very well incorporated. I actually like to add a little bit of the flour in at a time. That way I don't get any chunks or bubbles. This is going to create what's called a roux, or the base of your mac and cheese. Once you have that all mixed up, we're going to be adding in 3 cups of whole milk, and we're also going to be adding in 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Spend the extra time to really whisk that together so it's nice and creamy and smooth. Once that's done, we're going to be adding in some cheese. I like to use a combination of Gruyere and white cheddar cheese. So I'm using 4 cups of shredded white cheddar cheese and 2 cups of Gruyere cheese, and I'm gonna spend a little bit more time whisking that so it gets ultra smooth and creamy. You guys will see at the end, this is what makes this dish so special. Since my kids won't be having any lobster, I am going to actually add half of this to another pot, but boy, doesn't that look delicious. And once I get the elbow pasta into the other pot, I'm gonna add half of my cheese to it, mix that up and set it aside. Once your lobster is done, I like to add mine to a little bowl of ice water, let it sit for a minute, and then I'm going to actually take the outside shell off. Definitely make sure you take the veins and poop out, unless you like that sort of thing. And then I'm gonna go ahead and chop these up, and then we're gonna throw them into our pasta, and we're gonna get them prepped for their ramekins. I thought it'd be fun to serve these in little tiny ramekins, so I'm just gonna add a little olive oil spray to this, and then I'm going to pack in as much of that lobster mac and cheese as I can, but we're not gonna stop there. I'm actually gonna make a breadcrumb topping with a little twist. For the kids, I'm just going to add in just the cheese and elbow pasta, and I'm not going to be including breadcrumbs as well, so we're just going to pack that down and put it into the oven on a very low heat to keep it nice and warm. But doesn't that look so yummy? In a cast iron skillet, go ahead and add a little bit of olive oil and your breadcrumbs. I like to use Panko. I just find it to be so much crunchier. And then for the twist, we're going to be adding some Old Bay just to really bring in the delight of that lobster. This turns out epic and so delicious. Once your breadcrumbs are golden brown, go ahead and add it to the top of your lobster mac and cheese. I like to really pack it on there because the cheese sometimes bubbles out the side. And then we're gonna add that to a cookie sheet, and we're gonna bake it for about 10 minutes or until you start to see the cheese boiling. While that's cooking, I'm going to make some garlic bread. I picked up this nice herb focaccia bread, which is some of my favorite, but you could also use like a ciabatta or really anything. I'm going to add a nice healthy knife full of butter to the top of these, and then I'm going to season them. Something I would highly suggest is you could also add a ton of Parmesan cheese to the top of these. For whatever reason, my kids don't mind garlic bread, but they really don't care for it when I add Parmesan cheese, but I'll tell you, it's my favorite. So So once you're done getting the butter on, go ahead and smear on some ready-made garlic. Another trick I like to use with the garlic, when I use fresh garlic and turn it into a paste, my kids also don't care for that, but they don't mind the processed garlic, so I tend to use that more often than I use the other type. Unless it's just my husband and I, then you know I'm doing the real garlic. So once that's done, we're gonna throw that in the oven and get it cooking. While your bread is finishing, you can go ahead and garnish your lobster mac and cheese with a little parsley. I always like to use a little parsley. I did add some to the top to cook, but I always like to add a little fresh too. Now to plate everything, I'm just gonna add that adorable little ramekin full of lobster mac and cheese delight, and then add 2 pieces of this garlic bread, which later I did put a little Old Bay on, and it was really good. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. It will be linked on my members only Cook With Me channel, and if you guys try it, definitely let me know how it turns out over on Instagram. Okay guys, I'll see you in the next video real soon. Bye!